I'm BC Begley, and these are your news headlines for September 15th of 2022. Biden says a tentative railway labor deal has been reached, averting a strike. President Joe Biden said on Thursday that a tentative railway labor agreement has been reached, averting a strike that could have been devastating to the economy before the pivotal midterm elections. DeSantis ships migrants to Martha's Vineyard. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, following through on his promise to transport undocumented immigrants to other states, on Wednesday sent 2 plane loads of migrants to the island of Martha's Vineyard. Putin concedes China has questions and concerns over Russia's faltering invasion of Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday praised China's balanced position on the Ukraine war, though he conceded Beijing had questions and concerns over the invasion, in what appeared to be a veiled admission of their diverging views over the protracted military assault. NASA requests 2 new private astronaut missions to the International Space Station. NASA plans to help support 2 new private astronaut missions to low Earth orbit. The agency announced on Wednesday that it has asked private industry to provide proposals for commercial astronaut missions to the International Space Station. Tropical Storm Fiona forms in the Atlantic. Tropical Storm Fiona has formed in the Atlantic Ocean, becoming the 6th named storm of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season. The National Hurricane Center reported the storm is packing winds of 50 miles per hour with even higher wind gusts. It was currently about 625 miles east of the Leeward Islands as it strengthened from a tropical depression on Wednesday morning. Swedish Prime Minister resigns after conceding election defeat to right-wing bloc. The leader of Sweden's incumbent Social Democrats has resigned as Prime Minister after conceding defeat in the country's knife-edge election, handing victory to a loose bloc of right-wing parties that includes the far-right Sweden Democrats. Newsom signs controversial social media bill into California law. California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed into law a social media transparency measure that he says protects residents from hate and disinformation posts spread through social media platforms. The bill has also raised concerns from legal experts, citing the First Amendment and free speech as their main issues. Pence says whoever is the next GOP president will back a national abortion ban. Former Vice President Mike Pence said in a new interview that the next Republican elected to the Oval Office, quote, whoever that may be, will support a national abortion ban. Woman arrested in South Korea after bodies found in New Zealand suitcases. A woman was arrested in South Korea on Thursday on 2 murder charges from New Zealand, where the bodies of 2 long-dead children were found last month in an abandoned suitcase, authorities said. Xinjiang residents complain of hunger after 40-day COVID lockdown. Residents of a city in China's far western Xinjiang region say they have run out of food after more than 40 days under a strict coronavirus lockdown. In posts shared on Chinese social media, as well as platforms including TikTok and Twitter, residents showed empty fridges and hungry children. United States senators introduced bill to designate Russia a state sponsor of terrorism. Democratic and Republican United States senators introduced legislation on Wednesday that would designate Russia as a state sponsor of terrorism, a label pushed for by the Ukraine but opposed by President Joe Biden's administration. Airstrikes kill 10 in Ethiopia's Tigray capital, doctor warns. 2 airstrikes hit the capital of Ethiopia's Tigray region on Wednesday morning, killing 10 people, many of them first responders. The director of the city's flagship Ada Referral Hospital said, as Ethiopia's government gave no sign of taking up the Tigray forces' offer to stop fighting and pursue peace talks. Judge orders an Iowa teen who killed her alleged rapist to pay his family $150,000 in restitution. A girl who was 15 when she killed a man she said raped her multiple times must pay his family $150,000 in restitution, an Iowa judge ruled on Tuesday. Piper Lewis, who killed her alleged rapist in 2020, received a deferred judgment from Polk County District Judge David Porter after pleading guilty to voluntary manslaughter and willful injury. California mosquito fire surges, becomes the largest in state this year. A wildfire that's burned through more than 63,000 acres in Northern California became the largest in the state this year as more than 3,000 emergency personnel combat the blaze. And the Illinois governor and the Chicago mayor were blasted for hypocrisy after sending migrants bust from Texas to the nearby suburbs. Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott's office is calling out Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker after buses of migrants were sent into suburban towns from the Windy City. Over 100 migrants who arrived in Chicago after being bused from Texas on September 7th were then transported out of the city and into neighboring suburbs, but the mayors of several towns received little to no notice that the migrants would be arriving. And those are your news headlines for September 15th of 2022.